I was working at Woolies at the time as a night filler, but
Classic.
I applied for this job at Meg's bookshop because I love books. And in the interview, they told me they wanted someone full time. Excuse me. So I went into the car and told Mum.
You can have this if you want, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Went into the car and told Mum, and she was kind of like, oh, you know what, we can talk to Dad, like about me leaving school. And I was like, what? I can leave high school? Bring it on. So yeah, she spoke to Dad and I quit high school and started working full time at the bookshop.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Americans freak out at this kind of stuff.
I know, hey.
Like when I got married to Cameron, I hadn't spent one day in university. And I remember feeling super self-conscious about that. I didn't realize at the time that was actually like cool.
Yeah.
Like now I realize it was cool.
I don't know how people go to uni and they kind of have some idea of what they want to do. It's like, why would you go into debt for some idea of what you want to do? Anyway, so I was working at the bookshop.
So that's cool. So you quit school.
I did, yeah.
So that was just like, did you just feel like a new kind of lease on life in a way since you hated it so much? Or
well, yeah, I started making money. I could buy CDs and and like I shared a little bit about my experience in school with my friendships. I was happy to be done with that. I guess I was a bit more isolated, but yeah. So yeah, started saving up money, and then you had just had Liam, your first son, and you reached out to me and you said, me and Cameron were thinking of you could come to Ireland and live with us for 3 months. And I was like, that'd be sweet, because I looked up to you a lot and be cool to get out of this small town. So yeah, in 2008, I came and lived with you, and it was crazy. I had the best job ever. Do you remember the job I had in Ireland?
Well, the one you hated, you mean? The first one, you worked at the fish and chip shop.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, so there was a place in Gidor, Derrybeg. There was that place with like fried chicken. It was like a chicken chip shop.
Oh, I can't believe I don't remember that.
And then I remember once you just like walked into my office and told me you quit. And then it was after that I think you worked at a call center. Is that the one? Okay.
So that job, just because it's so funny, and I don't know if this would, robots probably do this now, but I would work night shifts, so it was very good pay. And I would listen to the messages that people would leave on people's answering machines, and I would type them up, and then it would get sent to them as a text.
Funny.
But it was all live, so you could have like 5 in a row, and then like 20 minutes would pass, and then, you know.
That is kind of fun to listen in on. Did they know that people were listening in to their conversations?
I don't know. Yeah. I guess the technology maybe didn't exist back then.
That is
computers
wild,
that just do that.
hey? Like to think that there would come a day when that was, no, computers will just do that and they'll spit out a text message. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I remember.
Was being at Meg's bookstore pivotal in some way, or are you just sort of chronologically going through how you got to now?
It's not really pivotal. Okay. I don't know why I mentioned that. Just was in my brain. I think I was mentioning that to say that I was able to save up enough money to get the visa and go and do that. And I remember you and Cameron would obviously pray a lot, go to mass a lot. And I remember getting into a lot of conversations with you about God, and you were very patient and good. And I think you basically just said, like, if you were encouraging me to pray. And I was like, Matt, I have prayed. You know, I go to mass on a Sunday. Mum, you know, school makes me go on the week. I've been into the church and God isn't there. Like, I'm telling you.
Oh, I'm so sorry for however I was awkward.
No, you weren't.
Wasn't
Just don't even have that thought, because you were very pivotal in my conversion. So I remember.
I remember once, and you tell me if you remember this. I remember. I do feel awkward.
I remember dousing you with holy water. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you go take a bath? It's already filled, and please don't empty it and refill it.
And ignore the priest.
Yeah. No, I remember going into your room because we were about to go on that pilgrimage to Medjugorje, and I remember coming into your room that night and just saying, "Hey, I'm just asking that you really be open to it." And maybe that was fine, but for some reason, as I think back on that, I cringe.
I think I was open, and I was away from my hometown, away of everything I knew, and I was able to receive that. So
actually, I think it was the other way around. I think you came in and you're like, I just want you to know, like, I am open.
Oh my gosh, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, I remember debating with you a lot, and you would kind of say, like, you know, I gave you the example, I've been praying all the time, Mum makes me pray, etc. And you were kind of like, well, that mustn't feel good. People just making you pray. Like, why don't you find your own space and your own time, and you just say your own prayer to God, like whatever you want to pray. And
do you remember I didn't kind of insist that you come to mass with us?
I don't, but I don't remember you dragging me to mass.
And it would be weird if I did. But I remember actually speaking to Father Paul Crotty, saying, should I like make her come to mass? I didn't know, right? I'm like, which is, now I look back at it, I'm like, you're a grown-ass adult. You do what you want. You know what I mean? But that was his point. He's like, no, she's an adult. Like, let her, she can do what she wants to do.
Father Paul.
So that was probably really helpful. So it was less pressure. Yeah, sorry.
But I ended up joining that like youth group in Ireland, which was so great. There was so many like lovely friendships I made there. So I took your advice, and my prayer was just, God, if you're real, show me. Like, show me in a way that makes sense to me. I'm pretty thick, so really make it clear. And then around the same time, it came up to go to Medjugorje, and I think you told me that a priest had paid for me to go. Also, this priest got you this Bible, but I think, is it true that you paid for me and you got me the Bible?
It sounds like something I would do, but I don't remember. It could have been Father Rory Brady. Actually, That wouldn't surprise me if he did pay for you to go. He was always doing very generous things like that.
Thank you, Father Rory. So yeah, we went to Medjugorje and tried to, and as I said, because of that youth group, I made a lot of great friends like Rachel and Hugh, and just kind of would wander around with them, and they were very into their faith. And
they were normal, right?
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah. And I remember going to confession, and it wasn't really confession. I was just like, Father, I've got some questions. And I remember saying, so I'm trying to be open to God, I'm trying to pray. But if I pray the Our Father, it doesn't make sense because I'm saying the words, Our Father, you are in heaven, holy is your name. But I don't believe them when I'm saying them. So how is that a prayer? And the priest said, prayer isn't just about you talking to God. It's about God talking to you. And I don't think I really knew what that meant, but I was like, oh, okay. And then I kind of resolved from that day on to pray a decade of the rosary every day to Mary, just with the same prayer, help me find God. And then I remember you took me around Medjugorje, like, what do you, I'll buy you anything. You want a rosary, you want a Bible? And I was like, just, can you get me one of those ones where you can't tell it's a rosary?
I was so excited because someone came up to me and went, your sister was just in the confessional line. I probably like dropped and smashed the glass I was holding, like, what? And I remember, like being so enthusiastic at the same time trying to temper myself, but probably didn't do that very well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started praying the rosary every day, and then this is a really worldwide trip, but then we ended up in Canada because you and Cameron were working for Net Ireland, who at the time were getting trained by Net Canada. And I was really excited to go to Canada because my favorite musician was from Canada at the time. And another really cool experience.
That was totally a plan. Like we were like, hey, you want to come with us? Maybe look after Liam?
To Net training.
Yeah, exactly. It was 100% like a setup. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was just, oh my gosh.
Tell people about it. So those who don't.
So Net national evangelization teams, every year they train up a bunch of different young people aged 18 to 30, put them on different teams, put them into parishes, universities, schools, and they run retreats for young people. And Australia is really in need of missionaries if you're listening and you want to go serve our people.
Netministries.au, is that it? I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh. If you just type in Net Australia, I forget the exact.
Josiah, would you look that up? I think it's netministries.au, I think. Net Ministries of Australia. If you want to go spend, is it okay if I do a plug here?
Sure,
9 months traveling around Australia, learning to surf and not being killed by poisonous animals. You can do that. You got to be between the ages of 18 and 30.
Yep.
Yeah, single. Cool.
Yep.
Okay, that's... Oh.
Cool.
All right. Well, Net Ministries Australia. Google it. You'll figure it out, people.
And that was a real, just picture me who's had such a poor example of what friendship is, walking into a, intense 2-month long training with 60 young people who are just in love with Jesus. But more than that, they're actually kind and they care about me. And that was a real, that made me feel special. But I remember walking in and they were having, praise and worship, because one of the charisms or one of the values or Net Ministries is very charismatic. So, people singing their guts out to Jesus and hands in the air. And it's really confronting when you're in a room of 60 people doing that. And it was kind of like, wow, if this is real, if these people, they seem to really believe they're talking to God. And if they are, I want to be this sold out for something, I think that's what was so, just picturing high school and what was missing. I think I was ready to give my all to something, and I kind of gave it all to music, But if this God is real, oh my gosh, I think I remember saying a prayer actually, just saying to God, if this is it, how could I not give everything? If you're real, I don't care if it looks bad to my atheist friends that I'm a Christian. Of course, I'll give it all to you, kind of thing. And then the next day, so Net is kind of divided up into, their training is divided up into different chunks. And the first 12 days, it's essentially a big long retreat. and beautiful Joe Vogel was giving a talk on...
He chose the nails.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and I just remember a part of his talk, he said, God killed a part of himself to save you. How can you conceive that? And I remember thinking, I can't conceive it. And I'm trying to conceive it and I can't. And in some weird way, not understanding that, I was able to accept it. And I just knew he was telling me the truth. I just knew, like, this is not false information. And I think that was kind of the moment where I just cried my guts out. And I just remember, like, yeah. And that was kind of it. That was what I was praying for. And praise God. Thank you, Mary, for answering my prayers. And yeah.
Yeah, I remember my experience of that talk, because prior to that moment, like, sometimes you'd be crying, but it was because it was like you were hurting, or it was you were kind of confused or something.
Yeah.
And so I remember sitting there during Joe's talk, and I when you're desperately trying to convert somebody but not being, like, weird about it, like, how's she receiving this, you know? Like, I don't know if you've had that experience, but I remember looking over at you and you were crying, and my first thought was, like, this isn't helpful.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this, but as soon as the talk ended, I actually walked up to this crucifix.
And you knelt down.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. I kissed the feet of it or something, and you grabbed my shoulder and spun me around.
Oh, wow.
And you said, yes, I accept it. I accept him.
Wow.
That's what you said.
Sweet.
And then for the next, however long that camp was, 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
something like
whenever
that.
somebody said, where's Emma? The answer was either outside with her Bible crying or in the chapel with her Bible crying. What was that whole... What happened after that?
You know, I hope this isn't a anticlimax, but I remember kind of overthinking the whole experience, because I remember, as we shared, when you had your conversion, you were very happy. And I remember not feeling that at first. Like, I was joyful in the sense that I was so happy to finally have this truth. But I think I overthought it a bit, and I thought, I need to be more X.
Yeah.
But I think I was, like, even though I was a single 18-year-old, you know, it did sort of turn everything around for me, you know? Like, I was like, I have to go home and tell my friends, like, I can't do drugs with them anymore.
Well,
you know?
I remember they were thinking, the question was like, should we let Emma stay and be on team? You're aware of this?
Yeah.
But the answer was no, because, I mean, she's a fresh convert.
Yeah.
She needs to go home.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm glad I did go home.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.